too. So what you up to?
Not much. A little bit of everything, actually. You know, you say not much, but it's never not much.
Yeah. So you were in Marine Recon, right?
Yeah, that was the last unit that I was stationed with, was 2nd Recon Battalion in North Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to ask you because that's like fucking cool as shit. You know?
Yeah.
Even when we worked together, I don't mention the shop's name, but remember I was like, holy shit, you were in Recon, you know?
Yeah.
But like, let's back up though. When did you first join Marines and what made you do that?
So, I grew up in Queens. And when I first started going to college, I went to Queensborough Community College, and I was going for digital art and design, but I wasn't really like married to it, you know, because drawing was my hobby at that time. So it was like, you know, when they force you to do something over and over again, especially when it comes to making money, like it kind of sucks all the joy out of it. You know, because you want to do it on your time. You don't want to do it when you have to, and it's like always a crunch time.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know where I was headed, and my grandfather was in the Marine Corps as well. He was in Korea, and he had 3 Purple Hearts.
Oh wow.
So he had kind of a really badass story that made me like, okay, maybe this is the direction that I want to go in my life.
And you got some badass stories too around, right? You're
modest, not
man.
As cool.
Yeah,
not as cool.
You're very modest about it. I noticed that.
Yeah, well, the military is a lot like college. It's a lot like college where you have a bunch of misguided, you know, young guys who have no idea what they want to do, but they've all played Call of Duty at some point.
But, so how long were you, like, how's it work to get into recon? Like, do they pick you for that, or you have to, like, volunteer for it?
So I'm not, like, a recon Marine, but I was a Marine that was attached to a recon community because my job when I got in, I was a parachute rigger. So that's a job that's only needed in very specific, you know, units.
Yeah. That's my phone. I always leave my phone on. It's part of the thing. We'll put it out here so it's louder.
Yeah, take a shot every time you hear his phone go off.
Yeah, that's what Flick said too. He said you got to drink every time my phone goes off.
Yeah, so we would only get attached to very specific units. Like my first unit was air delivery, and it was an air delivery unit that was attached to a landing support company in Okinawa, Japan. So that was my first duty station when I got out of all my schools and all that fun stuff. So that's a 2-year duty station.
Oh, so you were there
So I was there in Japan as a forward deployed Marine for 2 years.
Weren't you in Iraq too or something? Or?
No. Iraq was definitely before my time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
No, I joined in 2012.
Oh. Right.
And I got out in 2016, shortly before I started working with you.
Oh, I got you.
But yeah, no, I got to go to a bunch of different places being in Japan because, like I was saying, it's like it's a forward deployed. You're already technically like out of country, so it's easier to get those guys to go to different areas than all right. Now we have to train all these guys, do a workup, and then ship them from America.
Right,
so
you're already there, so it's cheaper.
You're already there. You're already away from your family. They don't have to do any.
Yeah, they just send you guys.
But no, I got to go to a lot of cool areas for sure. Most of which were, when I was in that air delivery unit. We went to Korea. We went to the Philippines. Like a lot of surrounding Asian countries.
Did you see any action over there at all?
No. When we did go to Korea, though, we were part of a simulated like beach landing where we were working with the Republic of Korea Marines, the ROK Marines, and we were simulating what a beach invasion would look like if, say, they were going to use it on the north or something that. So we did a simulated event with a bunch of aquatic vehicles pulling up and shooting sim rounds into the water. And it happened to be like those couple days we were up by the DMZ. So it ruffled a bunch of feathers with the North Koreans because they thought that they were firing rounds toward them.
Oh, shit. You almost started
So
a war.
it ruined our whole tour.
Yeah.
You know?
You almost started a war, too, while you were there.
Yeah, but...
So how long were you in for totally?
I was in for 4 active total. And then
okay.
technically when you get out... So when you sign up, I signed an 8-year contract. So I was 4 years active, 4 years inactive.
Oh, okay. So what's inactive mean?
Inactive means, you don't have to show up as often. It's like, 2 weeks out of the year. And...
yeah. What do they call that?
Weekend warriors.
Weekend warriors, yeah. No, I was trying to think of the real term.
That's the nice way to call it.
And then, didn't you do, weren't you doing computer stuff after that? Remember you saying?
So after that, being from the military, you get certain benefits when you get out. So I was using my GI Bill, my post 9/11 GI Bill, to go to school to finish the degree that I started.
Oh, okay.
And it took me like less than a year, like a semester and a half to finish all the credits that I needed towards that. So I was like, all right, well, my post 9/11 GI Bill gives me 3 years of school. So I might as well, turn and study something else for the rest of the 2 years. So I got another degree towards theater.
Oh, okay.
And acting.
So you took theater in school?
Yeah. So
okay. I thought you just jumped on that. Like, my daughter was doing acting. She was in a pilot with was it Marcy Harriel? You ever hear her?
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, she played the waitress on Death Proof. Was it Death
I haven't
Proof?
seen it, but it sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like a big Broadway actor, and it was my phone to get a drink.
Take a shot.
But she was like a big Broadway actor, and she's in some TV shows, some movies and shit. But yeah, it was a TV pilot, and they actually gave her an Internet Movie Database page for doing that. Because she's like, Google my name.
Usually when you get an actual film or a TV show, they give you those credits.
Yeah, no, she just in the pilot. I don't know if it even went anywhere. But one day she goes, Google my name. I Googled the name, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I'm like, wait, there's an actress that has the same name as my daughter. What the fuck? And then I looked. I was like, holy shit, this is you. And she looked. She was like, what? She couldn't believe it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what else did you do in the Marines? Let's back up a little bit to the Marines.
So
I know I jump around, man.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's totally
my
cool.
brain works.
Yeah,
so brain's all
like
over
I was
the place.
saying, my job was a parachute rigger. I was an airborne air delivery specialist.
Right.
So we were responsible for rigging up like giant cargo delivery systems and kicking those out of planes. We've rigged up Humvees.
Right. Like Dumbo Drop? Like Operation?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
We've rigged up Humvees,
That's cool.
giant water bores, and, that's
fucking crazy.
Those parachutes are enormous. We would use entire warehouses just to pack them.
And what are those, C-130s?
Box fan.
Are those C-130s? You push them out the back? Or?
Yeah, so the primary aircraft that we would use for dropping big stuff like that would be the C-130, the C-130 Hercules, and the ramp would open in the back, and we would have it rigged up on this giant, titanium floor, and it would just slide
it right out?
You would take all
you
the
don't
pins
have to,
out, and it would...
all right.
Right
you don't
out
have
the
to
back.
point the nose up to help it? No, you just shove it right
Because
out?
it's going to go, and when the static line pulls through that parachute, because a lot of what we do is low level, so when it's connected to a static line, so it would speed up the whole parachute process.
All right.
It wouldn't hit a certain altitude and then deploy.
So the parachute comes out with...
It comes out as soon as it slides out. The pressure of it flying out the back of that plane opens the parachute, pulls this static line that's connected to the bridle loop, and it opens it up. And usually with very heavy stuff like that, there's multiple parachutes, so you'd be rigging like 3 or 4 of them, and they'd all open up and like
that's crazy, man.
Slow this thing down. But when it hit the ground, it hit the ground.
Yeah. Did anything ever break when it hit, or it's how you made to take that
really.
crap, right?
I mean, you do a lot of like test jumps and test drops for equipment like this,
And that was over.
They have it down to a science, how much fuel you could have in it, you know.
And that was over in Korea?
So we've done drops in Japan, we've done drops in Korea, we've done drops in Alaska with the Army. We're up at J-Bear for a little bit. Yeah. So we've rigged up stuff that has gone to many different places. Most of which we don't actually see come out because we're just packing it and sending it away.
Right.
But yeah, we also did tons of like actual jumping. Like a big part of our job was, you know, packing parachutes and jumping with them.
So you were jumping out with the stuff?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And we would literally like keep ourselves like up to date on everything by constantly using the parachutes, and then we would do preventative maintenance on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another thing that I got to do a lot of while I was over in Japan was maintenance. You'd fix the parachute and then you'd have to test it by jumping with it.
Yeah. You don't give it, so you got to test it yourself?
Yeah.
That's fucking,
that was
so what if it don't work?
When you go to rigger school, we were in Fort Benning, Georgia.
Yeah.
And one of the final tests that you do is to jump with your own parachute.
Right.
So you have to go to Fort Benning and go to jump school so you can get your little wings to put on your camouflage utilities.
Right.
And that was a prerequisite for what you had to do in rigger school in Fort Lee.
Well, I guess that's making sure you fix the parachute right if you're the one that's got to jump out with it.
It's trusting what you do, because we don't only pack. We also get the certifications and stuff to be a pack in progress inspector.
Yeah.
So some of us, and every time you write your name on that book, now you're on the hook for that thing.
Right. Yeah,
so
someone gets hurt.
It gets super stressful, because even by the time you get out, you know, people could still be jumping parachutes that you packed.
Oh, shit.
And if anything happens, you know, an entire investigation starts.
Right. Yeah, make sure you packed it right.
Packed it right. It's inspected right. So it's something that's taken very seriously.
Yeah, definitely. It's someone's life, right? It's crazy.
But it was awesome. You know,
yeah,
it was
sure.
a cool
Sounds
job.
freaking cool.
You get to jump out of a lot of planes, even if
How
you
about
don't really
Chinooks?
want to.
Were you ever in a Chinook or anything? Or?
Yeah, I've gone in a Chinook.
Those things are cool. You when they fly by, you can tell just by the way they sound.
Ospreys are the most like uncomfortable, because
what's an osprey?
Ospreys are they're like rotary wing, so their blades rotate up and then they operate like a helicopter with two.
Okay. And then they kind of turn so they can take off?
Yeah, they turn and it takes off, but the way that it moves, it's like you're riding a boat. It's up and down and up and down, and I'm like, all right, let me jump off this plane.
Yeah, you want to throw up, man. Like that. So when you got out, then, you know, I guess you worked at the shop. That's the way I met you.
Yeah. Well, right before I got out, you know, while I was still in Japan, I lost my dad.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
So that was one of the big things that kind of like directed me on what happened at like after I finished my first enlistment. Was I going to stay in, or I kind of felt bitter, like I was kind of robbed of his last, you know, moments.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him in a year before he passed away, so I was pretty messed up by it. And
definitely.
I did kind of blame my time in, because I would have had so much more time with him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure he was proud of you, understood everything, you know?
Yeah, no, he was my biggest fan. We were best friends.
Cool.
And then I started working at the shop.
Yeah. I can't believe they didn't teach you how to tattoo. That's fucking crazy. They taught every other dirtbag how to fuck the tattoo, and those. I ain't gonna talk about it, but yeah, that was ridiculous. That's fucking nuts.
Well, that was one of the things I said I wanted when I went in there. I was like, you know, obviously, like, I want this. I'll work your desk, but I want it to lead to me.
And they just said, yeah, okay, we'll just blow smoke up his ass and get him to work here.
Work there for a year and paper bitch.
Yeah, the front girl.
Fucking. And I was a cute one.
Yeah, you were the cutest one out of all of them. Fuck yeah. But what do you call it? And then. So after that fiasco was over, you went to school again? You took acting? Wait, so, when did you grow? What did you do first, acting or
I moved to Vegas first.
Oh, that's right, I remember that, yeah.
So I left... Oops, sorry.
I'll beep that out.
Beep that out.
Yeah.
Take another shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I
so
gotta lower my
I
thing.
left that. I left that shop, and I don't know. We were hanging out with another tattoo artist, and she got a big opportunity to.
That was Sophia, right?
Yeah. To move over to Vegas and tattoo in the.
And her dad's out there too, right?
Hmm?
Her dad is out there too, right?
Yeah, he's out there.
Cool.
So we were like, you know what? I'm used to the military life. I like packing up and moving, and it's just like it's therapeutic to just start over somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
So we packed up our life. We grabbed our 2 dogs in the Honda Coupe, and we drove
out there?
across country and lived in Vegas for 2 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you guys were shooting out in the desert too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing pictures of that.
A lot of cool, they're very lax with their gun laws out in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
how long are you out there for?
So we lived there for 2 years, and then I kind of started getting a lot of stuff. Like I have nerve damage from jumping much. Like it put a lot of pressure on my cervical spine,
Right.
and trapped my nerves in my upper chest. So I started going to the VA hospital a lot more, and then it became kind of a lot for my now wife to deal with.
Right.
So I didn't have a lot of family out there, and we were like, you know what, let's just go back to New York and settle everything down.
And
so we come back to New York after 2 years, which Vegas was beautiful, but it's not where I was meant to stay. It's a landlocked state. The only water you got out there is like Lake Mead
there's
and
no
the
ocean.
Colorado River. It's a hard adjustment when you grow up like East Coast and you have a beach on both sides of the island.
Yeah, we live on an island.
Exactly.
So once you get off the island, it's like, what the fuck, man? I say once you cross the Hudson,
you get all 4 seasons. When I came back, I enrolled in school, and I finished that one degree, and I rolled it over, and I started the other one.
Taking acting.
Yeah.
What school did you go to for acting?
I went to Suffolk.
Oh, really? They have
Community
acting
College.
courses?
Yeah. They have a
they got everything
stellar
over there.
theater program
Really?
over there, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you never think. You
wouldn't think like a community college, but like one of my mentors at the school was from the Yale School of Drama.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's a teacher there. So
which one did you go to, in Farmingville or?
No, I went to Ammerman in Selden.
Oh, okay. Oh, Selden, that's what I meant. Selden, yeah.
So, yeah, it goes to show that, like, with community college, you never know what kind of education you're going to get.
Yeah.
Most of those people, that's not the primary school they teach at.
Right.
They're coming from all over the place to get more hours.
And how long was the acting course for?
So I did 2 years in the theater program with emphasis on acting. And, yeah, part of that, you get to do a lot of, like, they would put on 2 shows a semester, like, big shows where they, build the sets and everything. It's like a 3-month workup to performing. You do it for 2 weeks and then it's over. So I did a couple of those at the college, and I really kind of fell into it. I wanted to get into like voice acting for animation, and that's something that you either have to go to like a specific school for, like a trade type school where you work with somebody who's been in that industry for a really long time, but that doesn't exactly translate to my GI Bill, so I figured theater program would probably be the best place to start. Those people are always like on the front line of acting. They do it live every night. You can make mistakes, but you have to be able to cover everything very well. It's not very different from film or TV.
When did you start growing weed? You grew it somewhere in between.
Yeah, so I started growing weed in Vegas because it was totally recreational there for years before we even moved there. So they were set up for it.
Right.
And we were going to the dispensary a lot during COVID and the lockdown, and we were like,
Oh yeah, you were out there during the lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we moved there right before that happened.
Oh, all right.
And we're like, oh man, we just moved here. Now it's impossible to get a job. Like, we're burning through money.
Yeah.
So we worked at like a fast food place for a while, and like just to make enough money to get through. And then my wife started managing restaurants, and
you started growing.
Yeah, and I started growing weed, and I was
Would
like,
you grow in
know
the
what?
house, right?
We go to the dispensary every day, every other day. Like, why don't we try this ourselves? And it's extremely hard to grow weed in Vegas, like because of the temperature.
Oh,
so you can't do very much outside. You can grow outside,
dry too,
but
right?
you have super dry. You have to dump in humidity.
Right.
So just learning. I started off with a curve. Like, it was hard.
Right. Did you go indoors then?
Yeah.
Hydroponics or dirt?
No, I do dirt.
Yeah.
I've tried hydroponics.
Hydroponics sucks.
It's not that it sucks.
It's
that it's just very temperamental.
Yeah.
And dirt is just way more forgiving.
And it's natural.
It is. And
I don't smoke
stuff like living soil and stuff that creates its own, like, habitat, like its own little
and
ecosystem.
People say that the the hydroponic is more harsh than dirt grown, like it's smoother dirt grown.
Yeah,
I don't know how true that is.
It can be like that. It's also, it's just years and years of overdoing the genetics and trying to create, very high trichome count buds and
what did you
stuff
grow?
To wash. I just grew the first seeds from the first breeder that I could figure out.
Okay. What was it?
And his name is Masonic Seed Co.
What was the name of the plant, though?
The breed. And I grew some green crack.
Green crack.
And I grew some apples. I think it was apples and bananas. But yeah, and he cuts all of his stuff with his own strain, obviously.
Oh, so he does his own stuff. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, everything out there was crossed with like Wilson or Wilson F2, or that's his work, his genetics.
Yeah.
So you have to make it your own. You have to collaborate with a bunch of other people, which makes the weed community such a nice community, or very cutthroat.
Yeah, I mean, people are people. Oh, will they feminize the seeds?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Yeah, no, I definitely prefer a good, bunch of regular seeds. I'm growing regular seeds right now, with a couple feminized, just so I could make sure that it's not like a total wasted yield.
But this way you have seeds for your next crop.
Exactly,
exactly. That's why you're not committed to be buying. Because I wanted to get.
The only thing with that is you have to watch, because those male plants will pollinate anything in the general area. So when it comes time to flip those lights, because you have, the two stages of growing, the veg and you have the flower. So during veg, all is forgiven almost all the time.
Yeah.
You could stress the plant out and this and that. But when you get into flower, those plants become very temperamental. And if it's not a female, it's a male plant, it's going to try to pollinate all the female plants to produce more seeds, which is going to give you really seedy bud that's not focused
so
on
be too seed.
Not focused on all the structure and other stuff that goes into.
Can you just just keep one male?
You can, and I know a lot of people that do it like that. Yeah. They'll veg out. They'll keep a couple males together in a small tent away from their grow.
Okay.
But yeah, it can't share the same space as the females, because it's going to ruin your whole crop.
Right. Can't you just use that first crop for seeds, and then grow the next one, kill off the male?
But the thing with making or getting herms and stuff like that, like having the male pollinate, you never know what you're going to get out of the next batch of seeds.
Because they're not land raised.
Like if you take an apple and you plant the seeds.
You can't do that.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as a fucking antique apple anymore. Yeah. They actually graft apple trees to other trees. Because I bought apple trees for my house. He said, you can't plant the seeds. They grafted. Because you can't basically plant an apple seed. Yeah. Unless you get an antique apple, which are hard to find. But yeah, it's crazy. I found Colombian gold seeds online.
Oh,
I just wanted to grow
those are old school,
man. But they're feminized. I mean, I want to get them anyway, but
you can't knock feminized, because you're getting a guaranteed product.
Yeah, this way at least you're not going to plant them and get 10 male plants and one female.
4 to 6 months doing a grow where you're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
And I've done those grows before.
They were all males, or most.
Well, no, or they herm, or
hermaphrodites.
It's a learning curve when you're growing, and what you need to really just focus on is giving them the same amount of care consistently until they need different care, and then just be consistent about everything you do, and you'll get a nice crop. I like to stay as natural as possible, and I do living soils. And
what's living soil? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
So living soil is
excuse me.
You can get it through I think I use Nature's living soil.
Was it got like microbes in it and stuff?
Yeah, it has a ton of microbes, and it smells god awful because of all the ingredients in it. But it's all the good stuff that plants need and want in packaged into something that you amend the soil with. So not a lot of people will go out of their way to get all the bat guano and the fish meal and stuff like that. That's stuff that comes part of this small little package. Yeah, I like to stay and use stuff that comes from natural ingredients, because the more stuff you put into it, the more you could either taste during the aftermath when you're trying to enjoy your product, or
I think the way you grow it has a lot to do with taste too. Like I said, the what people are saying, the hydroponics are harsh and they don't taste as good. The soil
because they use a lot of nutrients and stuff to make that water good to sit there, and they have to keep amending it and amending it. And
it's got to. I did that one time. You have to keep flowing. The
you have to watch the sodium
and then the minerals in the water block all the little hole, because it's like a ring, and it's got the little holes, and then it builds up, and you got to constantly clean it. It's a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I know a lot of people that are just really great at it.
Some people love it.
And their stuff doesn't taste awful at all. One of my friends was in the New York Growers Cup, and he's been doing shows and stuff like that, placing really well with his hydroponics.
Oh wow! But, I guess that's how you do it.
It's just something that I'm not super versed in. And I'm just more comfortable planting soil, especially sometimes over the summer. I'll just go outside, I'll drop 4 of them into the ground with a bunch of amendments and stuff, and I'll just go out there and hit it with water every day, and you get these Christmas trees, because they have so much room to grow, and when you put plants in a pot, you limit their life.
Yeah, because
they could only grow the roots, so much until they fill up that space, and there's no more nutrient left in the soil.
Right. I grew plants in my backyard, and freaking groundhog got to them. My son caught him. He caught him eating I thought he killed them, but he actually trimmed them for me. I put a fence around them, and they grew back really bushy.
He was too high.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess when we tried to get him again, and he's probably like, fuck, they put a fence around it. God damn it.
Yeah. No, I did a big grow last year. We did 4 outside, and they were massive.
Yeah. How much do you get out of it?
We had probably somewhere between 4 to 6 pounds.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And we end up washing it because it's outdoor, and outdoor it gets touched by too many things, bugs, the elements. Indoor is more of the flavor smoke.
Right. Do you ever get spider mites on your plants?
Oh yeah,
they suck, don't they?
Yeah, ruin your entire operation.
I actually had plants.
There's things for them like neem oil and stuff.
I hit my freaking mic. I had an itch on my ear. I had to adjust. I'm smacking my mic around. But I sprayed. Oh man, I just fucked this thing up. I sprayed. What do you call it? Make sure I'm still getting sound. Yeah. Okay. What do you call that shit? The freaking almond oil.
Yeah.
I sprayed almond soap. I'm sorry, almond soap. I sprayed on my. And then when I was, basically giving it to people, they asked what kind of weed it was. I told them it was Almond Joy. Because they had almond soap all over it. It smelled like almonds and shit. I go, yes, Almond Joy. And everyone liked it. And it's weird because I actually grew that. I grew those with, I just want to see what it was like to grow fluorescent lights. And they grew, but they were very, airy. They weren't dense. Just very airy.
Fluorescent lights don't exactly give it the spectrum it needs.
I just was fucking around.
An imitation of the sun. but it's not true for all plants. You could take clones of a plant, and you could keep clones alive with a fluorescent light for forever.
Yeah, because they're clones. You're not doing nothing with them. Yeah. And it was I almost gave whatever he wanted. He looked, his eyes lit up. I go, don't. It's not as much as it looks. Trust me, man. It's very fucking light. But it was good though. People liked it, so it's like.
And that's what's important about it. Is that it tastes good. Like it's natural. It's not pumped with all this artificial stuff. And, everybody's trying to have the strongest weed, but I feel like right now dirt terps are in.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants weed that tastes like dirt.
Well, they want to win the awards, I guess, at these shows.
I want 35%. No, I don't want anxiety. All right, thanks.
Yeah, I don't even smoke, but I used to smoke a lot, but not anymore. What are you growing now?
Right now, I'm growing a lot of stuff from in-house genetics. Really, really nice plants. So I have some Citrus Dream growing right now. He's just got great genetics, and
Citrus Dream. Citrus Dream is called.
Yeah, Citrus Dream. I'm growing some stuff from Ag Seed Co. Todd McCormick. And those are all regular. I'm growing some of his Purest Indica. So those are supposed to be some older strains from back in the day that got frozen and refrigerated and taken care of, so that.
What do you like better, indica or sativa?
Well, I will preface this by saying there's really not much of a difference anymore because everything's a hybrid
it's
now.
All hybrid, yeah.
But I like heavier weeds. I like that body high, the euphoric. So I would say I lean more indica dominant hybrids. The sativa ones, they tend to give me anxiety. I feel a lot of palpitations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, it was sour diesel all the time because that was what was in New York.
It was Colombian Gold when I was younger, and Panama Red.
Panama Red. That's a old school strain.
Mostly Colombian Gold though, but it was like, you were too young really to get. To be paranoid. There's something to be paranoid about when you're 15 years old. You know what I mean?
The stress of life.
Yeah. but sativa, it makes you paranoid and definitely anxious.
Yeah, which definitely gets my wheels going. I'm always watching the door and what's going on.
You find some of your veteran friends the pot for PTSD?
I do.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of my friends tend to use it because it's a natural thing. There aren't extremely harmful side effects. I smoked cigarettes for 10 years,
right.
And the one thing that helped me quit that was weed because it was a fixation at that point. I don't think it really necessarily mattered that I was taking in the tobacco. It was just more of I wanted to smoke something. And that's right now with all the kids in the vapes and all that.
Yeah, they're getting popcorn lung now from those things.
Yeah. Well, you remember the Juuls? They were blowing up when people were hitting them.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Click is smoking a vape. I used to tell him he's going to get popcorn lung. I'm no way. No, I'm not going to get popcorn.
But he smoked a vape back then,
Yeah. He was been doing that for years. He loves that shit. And when did you start acting?
So I started acting about 2 years ago. When I started the theater program at Suffolk.
Oh, okay, so you met all kinds of actors and shit.
Yeah, I worked with all those people in the school, and it kind of gave me, my first idea of what it would be like after that. That's cool. I'm not a young guy. I'm fairly young. I'm 31.
31. Oh, yeah, you're old, man.
But I mean, to be in college, it's a weird thing. I'm in my 30s, and all these people are my younger sister's age, 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be vulnerable around people that are kids and stuff like that. But once you get past that, it turned into something more.
What theater did you go to? You act at? You have a certain theater? You just jump around?
At that school, a lot of my work was done in the Shea Theater.
Where's that?
Or it's at the campus.
Oh, it's at the campus. Huh?
Yeah. I did a show in Queens last summer at the Secret Theater.
Was that the Batman thing?
Yeah, that was the Batman
okay.
theme
Yeah,
one. So I played 2 characters loosely based off of that, but they were also like representations of the people who wrote the material. So it was those people from their friend group, and then I got to be those 2 characters during that show that kind of held all the friends together and stuff. And yeah, it was fun. I got to meet a lot of talented people on that show, and that just like solidified for me that, like, you know, this is the people that I want to be working around, like,
and that's what
this is what I want to do.
That's cool, man. And now you're making a movie, right?
And now I'm working on my
first
indie
film. I guess an indie film.
Yeah, so it's a low budget indie film. It's a found footage film, like a crime one, where you know, you have these 4 friends who haven't seen each other in a decade. I mean, 3 of them are relatively close at the time because they all stayed in their hometown. But my character comes back after a long time and they reconnect.
Right.
So the whole film is premised like there's a crime that happened in the area in which we grew up and we hang out around, and there's a lot of investigations going on to where what happened. Are these friends involved in anything? You know, can they actually just be 4 friends that just moved back to
and just happened
their
to
home
find the footage?
and just happened to be in the general area of this? Yeah.
And when's that coming? Oh, I guess you don't know what's coming out. You're still filming it, right?
Yeah, we're still filming it. Yeah, they reunite at like a funeral, and then they get interrogated about an unclear crime.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I'm currently shooting it. We're going to finish shooting probably around July. And, yeah, my director has the Instagram handle Dogs and Philosophers.
Dogs and Philosophers, cool.
If you want to check out some of his other stuff.
Yeah.
This film is called Confessions in Static.
Are you shooting it here on Long Island, or you got to travel somewhere?
Here on Long Island.
Okay.
We've been shooting in areas like Babylon and St. James.
Cool. I remember I had to take my daughter because they were doing a film. I had to go to Connecticut with her.
Oh,
for
wow.
this film, yeah. And then another time I had to take her to, this is for the, what the hell is it called? The one with Marcy Harriel.
Oh, the pilot?
Called, yeah, I wrote it down so I know I'd forget it. I'm hitting my microphone again. Shit. No, I can't remember the name of it now. I don't remember the name of it, but we had to go to a school in Brooklyn. And, you know, I pulled up, and some guy comes out. He goes, "Oh, can I help you?" And I go, "Yeah, we're here for the shooting." And they like looked at me. I was like, "Oh fuck!" I like bad
not
choice.
What you want to say outside school.
Bad choice of words. And I, you know, it was film. He's, "Oh yeah, okay." And I had to wait, you know. And then Marcy Harriel got out of her car when she pulled up. You ever see her?
No.
She's gorgeous. She's a beautiful lady. And her hair was just like, she had like natural hair, just all. And I'm like, oh my god, that fucking hair is. And at first, I didn't know who she was. And she gets out of the car and she walks up to my door. She goes, "Oh, you're here for the film?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's talking to a really nice lady. And all I said to her was, I'm like, "Oh, I like your hair." She was like, "Oh, thank you." And then from seeing her, the way she acted, and like the way, just something about her, and like, this lady's famous. I know it. This lady. And I Googled her. I was like, holy fuck. And I can't believe all I said was, "I like your hair," you know? It's good if I knew,
I like your hair.
Yeah, if I would have known who she was, I probably would have been like, yeah, you know? Yeah. But she was really cool. She was really friendly and everything.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And it's definitely like an outlet that helps you deal with a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily think you have to.
Right.
You know, coming from the military and stuff, like, I feel like we're like programmed to just not really display any emotions, to just logically think in times of crisis.
Yeah, and just
anything
take orders,
past that is
do
weakness,
this, and don't question,
you know? So
it helps you deal with that?
Yeah, being like vulnerable on a stage full of people, like, and you know, one of the helpful exercises that we do in, like, when you're starting a project, they literally call it a trauma dump. You know,
what?
A trauma dump. So anything that you've been through in your life that has had like a emotional or mental toll on you, you would talk about this with people, so they would get to know you and know that, like, you know, oh, maybe I had a similar experience. Maybe I can relate to this.
Right. So that's so like your trauma comes out in the
exactly
acting,
it comes out, and it's something that you use. You could use it as a tool to just draw upon, like, oh, I need to be really devastated in this scene. Right. So, you know, maybe I'll think about somebody that I lost or something, and be able to just switch like that.
Yeah, well, they probably teach you that in acting school, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Little.
Spoiler: you don't need the degree.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, one day we're watching TV, and she goes, "Wow, acting looks like it's fun." I forgot how old she was. Little, she was like 7 maybe. She was, acting looks like fun. I would like to do that. And I found an acting school. They're closed now. But they were around Konkoma, and she went there, and that's where she got all these, like, casting calls and shit she went to. And she was in a play. Then she was in 2 or 3 short films. And and then that TV pilot. That's probably the biggest thing she was in. I think she made the one in Connecticut. She made $50.
There's not a lot of money in starting out for sure. You know, I'm on Backstage, and that's like a website that I get most of my casting on. But it's more like, you know, it's stuff you're doing yourself. I'm not, you know, represented or anything, so I have to kind of find my way until I have a resume that's worth showing somebody.
You know, there's something with my daughter. Because she's comfortable around, because she loves shooting, so she's really comfortable around firearms. And I actually put that in her resume, like comfortable around firearms. And then when she stopped doing it, she wanted to do theater, and then she kind of just faded away from it a little bit. You know what I mean? Now she has no desire. She's 16 now, but I was getting emails for these casting calls, and one thing was, you know, and it fit her description perfect, and it said must be comfortable around firearms. I'm like, fuck, I go, it's like a day late and a dollar short. You know,
you never know, she might fall back into it, you know.
I don't know, it's kind of weird.
I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was a teenager. I mean, when I was younger, I loved watching, like, cartoons and stuff, and that's what originally got me in the mindset. Right. You know, like SpongeBob and all that stuff, and I'd sit there and I'd play with it and try to mimic the voices. And
they're washing their cars. The Amazon guy was there too.
Say, hit that Jeep too.
No, don't hit the Jeep. Oh, wash it. Yeah, wash it. Don't hit it though. Actually, I just cleaned my car out. I think it was disgusting. I had it. I got it just before COVID. I got it, and I think I washed it once and cleaned the inside once. So, it was gross. My daughter's...
well, you don't think about it. It's like, I need my car from A to B. Like,
and then I cleaned it, and everyone was like amazed. My daughter's like, wow, I could put my drink in the cup holder now. I'm like, it was really that gross?
$16 and nickels.
I'm like, I didn't realize it was that gross, but it was. It was fucking disgusting. So what else? You got a play coming up at all? Or?
Not currently, no. We got the film Confessions in Static coming up soon. I know his last project just got picked up by Amazon Prime, so... Oh, really? You know,
you're not
congratulations,
in that
one,
Bob. Are you in that one?
No.
So maybe this one will get picked up.
You never know.
That'd be cool.
You never know how big or small the project you're working on is going to get. And that's why a lot of places, instead of offering you money when you apply to be in the film and do your auditions, they defer it. So based on the project's success, you could take stake in that. Or you could take $50 or $100 right now. Call it a day.
Just waiting to know if it does good, you'll take your.
I mean, you know, it's more about the work. You know, you get to wear all these different shoes, be all these different people. I mean, I get typecast a lot because I'm tattooed. So for certain things, I either need to get a bunch of makeup and cover it up,
or the dirtbag or something.
I'd be the douchey character.
And you're doing something you love too. It's like, you know, that's cool. So what else you got? That's it? That's all? Just an actor, the Marines, acting, and throwing weed?
Just all that. You know, I had a drug problem at one point. But
what?
I had a drug problem at one point.
Yeah? What kind?
You know, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
That was in between my move to Vegas, though.
Oh,
that was
shit.
after.
Did you have to go to rehab for that?
Did it again.
What?
You're gonna have to beep that out.
Oh, yeah. I didn't hear you. I'm like, yeah, I caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll beep that out. But,
I was just... When you get out of the military, you don't realize that your mental health is affected by everything you've gone through, all the training you've gone through, you know. And then you get out and you're just alone.
Right.
I had my girlfriend at the time. She's now my wife, but
well, she's great.
It's different.
You know,
yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah.
This woman's amazing.
Yeah.
She's a GM out in the Hamptons, managing a restaurant, and killing it. You know, she works harder than anyone I know, but it's not something you're just like open to talking with everyone about because it's they're never going to understand like your veteran friends do.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And those people, when you get out, are spread all over the country, so you very rarely see each other unless you really make that effort.
Yeah.
So, I mean, luckily in moving to Vegas and stuff, I got to see a lot of them on the way there, and then on the way back, we stopped and saw a few of them. And occasionally, we travel to go see some of my friends or have them come to us.
Did you have to go to rehab, or you just took care of it yourself?
No, I didn't have to do anything like that, but I don't know. Right before we moved, me and my girlfriend, my wife, we knew that there was a problem, and we knew we would have to work around it at some point. Yeah. So
both of you, or just
both of us? Both of us. Yeah. It was, your 20s. Your 20s is that party time. You're going to the bar every night. Somebody hands you a bag. You're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be that kind of party. And then from there it just becomes explorative, and you're trying other things. I was really wrapped up on the white stuff.
This is the pit bull?
Yeah, this is the pit bull. Taz.
It's a Ridgeback, right?
Yeah. Rhodesian Ridgeback. Troublemaker.
They're trained to kill lions, those things.
But, yeah, I mean, your mental health takes a very, very long time to kind of figure out. And I just suppressed stuff so long that,
and that's,
I only felt good when I was medicating myself.
Yeah. And having to keep shit in just doesn't help either.
And she worked at a bar in Sayville, and there was no security there at the end of the night or anything. So I would get off of work at like 5-6 o'clock, and I'd go to that bar, and I'd stay there until she closed at like 4 a.m.
Oh wow!
And then I'd go back to work at like 7.
Oh man!
And then I'd be back there. So then it got to a point where now I'm using because I'm helping her, and I'm making excuses for it. And
well, at least you took care of it on your own.
Yeah,
though,
when we moved, we were like, all right, we're not going to do anything. The minute we get to Vegas, we're like, all right, let's do something,
Right.
So we tried it all out in Vegas, and we were like, you know what? We're still disgusted with ourselves. Let's stop.
So that was in Vegas that you stopped?
Yeah, it was in Vegas that I finally clicked in. Like, what are you doing to yourself, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to California one weekend to just go to a beach and sit on the sand, play in the waves. And I remember I was getting hammered by these waves, and it was knocking all the wind out of me. I felt like I couldn't breathe. But my first thought was I need a cigarette.
Right.
That shouldn't be my first thought when I can't already breathe. So that really kicked everything off, and I was like, if I could quit smoking cigarettes, I could quit everything. But to quit smoking cigarettes, I had to stop drinking.
Right.
So I stopped drinking, and then I quit cigarettes at the same time. I used weed at the time to just keep myself sane.
Yeah, in the rehabs, when they do NA, then they're not allowed to smoke weed either. Which I think is at least but I guess everyone's different. Some people, if they smoke weed, they want more.
Yeah.
And you got to take each
I'm one of those people with that addictive personality. Something that I fall in love with. I'm in love with it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that thing. But it's also that that discipline. I'm like, I need to stop this because I want to stop this, and that's that place that a lot of people don't get to, so they have to go to those rehab places. Like, they don't want to stop.
Right.
They want the party to keep going.
Yeah, they need help.
And when you get to a spot where you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Then I don't think you really need the help. It's more of, all right, I just have to stick to a program.
Yeah.
Stick to
if you can do it yourself, you don't need the help.
Go to the gym for a couple, like, every day, or I'll replace it with something healthy.
Yeah. So everything's good now?
Yeah, everything's good now.
Maybe smoke weed?
I stick to the natural stuff.
Yeah.
You weed occasionally, you repair your synapses with some mushrooms.
The Ridgeback likes me, man. I made a friend.
Yeah, they're super friendly.
Yeah. Pastor Joe has Ridgebacks. You ever see Pastor Joe?
Yeah.
Viking
the prepper.
Yeah, he's got the Rhodesian Ridgeback.
They're smart dogs, but
lion hunters.
They like to see what they could get away with.
There's no lions around here. They got to do something.
So they're up here jumping on tables and
cool.
Eating the already hunted game.
Yeah. So is there anything else? Did I forget to ask you anything that you wanted to say, or?
A lot of people say that, when you're young, it's like, oh, you're a baby and this and that. And you don't realize all the stuff that people can go through at that age. When I was a teenager, I was already signing my life away to go to war. I couldn't even drink alcohol yet.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that's just underplayed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that any age is unreasonable for any person to, do some outstanding thing in their life. I've just been privileged to have, had my own steps that brought me to where I went.
Yeah. Well, you definitely lived a lot more than a lot of other people, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's you take it for the good and the bad, the good and the
pistol
ugly.
License? You have your pistol license yet?
Not here.
No.
We did the concealed course in Vegas,
really?
but it doesn't translate over here.
No, New York doesn't recognize anything.
Yeah.
But you should get it.
There's programs to where veterans kind of get help with the process of that.
Yeah. Oh, it's easy.
I've been thinking of doing, but it hasn't. It's not necessary just this second.
Right. Yeah, it's not a priority.
I gotta focus on what gets me to where I need to be right now, and I just choose to trust people. I don't need a gun on my hip to feel safe.
Yeah, I do.
It's a nice head start though.
Yeah,
because you got range on them, but if you surround yourself with people you trust.
Yeah,
you create that tight-knit community that doesn't really need to protect itself.
Yeah.
And not that I'm saying that we don't need to protect ourselves right now, because take all your measures. Yeah. It's not looking pretty for the next 10 years, but...
So what else you got going?
Just, I work for a painting company, too.
Yeah. I was spackling. I was doing spackling for the union.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. I hate that shit.
Sanding the spackle's the worst part.
Oh yeah, you get all you're like picking your nose on the way home. People looking at you. This guy picking your nose.
Swear it's not drugs. Okay, I'm covered in it.
Yeah. So I guess that's it, man. So you want to hit anyone up, like any websites or Instagram or anything?
I'm not going to plug myself, but go follow Dogs and Philosophers, because we're going to have a movie coming out here soon with a lot of extremely talented people, and I'm super excited about it. And look for me in the future, because
you don't want to plug.
I'm persistent.
You don't want to plug your own thing?
No, it's just my name.
It's
just Scotty Dowd.
Scotty Dowd.
Scotty Dowd on Instagram.
All right, cool, man. Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Definitely. Always great seeing you.
Definitely, man. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah,
but
I've been all over the place.
Yeah. Well, you're in Vegas for a while too, and
Yeah.
And the lockdown and shit. But
take this, if you're gonna take anything from this, hit up all your friends. Check in on all your friends, because there's people that come in and out of your lives all the time. My military friends, my friends from college. Like, people sacrifice these relationships all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't even
drift
realize
away,
it. A month goes by where you don't talk. 5 months, a year, 2 years, and then you never know what's going on in people's lives until you actually reach out and find out for yourself.
Yeah, especially veteran friends.
Especially veteran friends. A lot of people go through a lot of stuff.
And they won't
over
tell
there
you anything. You gotta dig. I had a friend of mine, actually. He's a customer, and I consider him a friend though. But he's in Marines. He's a combat veteran, and then he was going through a divorce. And I was worried about this fucking guy. You know what I mean? I was like, holy shit. But I said, you can come, because you come in the shop for tattoos, and I'd be like, listen, you can come here anytime. You don't have to come here for a tattoo. You can come here anytime you want. Bullshit. And he did. A couple of times he'd come in and we just bullshit. But it's. Yeah. Definitely, I was worried about him a little bit, but now he's got his shit. Now he always had his shit together.
Yeah.
But, now
military people they're hard to keep down. You could just keep kicking at them, but they'll find a way to get up.
Yeah.
But that's the big thing, is we just got to be here for each other.
Definitely.
We're all people, regardless of what you choose to do with your life. Hold on to those relationships that you have, because they're not going to be there forever.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
It's great talking
again,
to
man.
you.
Definitely. Thank you. The dog wants to be on. What's this one's name?
This is Hazel. I've had her since I was in the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got her in North Carolina.